Hi, it's Jules here, and welcome back to Jules FM. Today I wanted to share something I've been talking about a bit recently, and it's been unfolding for me behind the scenes of this podcast. It's a shift that was sparked, by my recent conversation with Janine Alice, and it's still teaching me things about how I show up, not just here on the mic, but also in my life. And that shift is that authenticity isn't a performance, it's a release. For such a long time, I thought authenticity meant like doing it right, sounding natural, choosing the right words, getting the message across in a way that felt polished but honest. And I genuinely believed I was being authentic because I wasn't pretending to be someone else. But I recently realized that there's a very subtle version of performance that can sneak in even when your intentions are pure. And for me, that performance looked like tightening, I think, a little bit and controlling the outcome and how I sounded, wanting to be perceived in a certain way, wanting to deliver value and wanting to sound like someone who had it all together. And I'm sure this stems from my whole people-pleasing background. I often got told that people liked my voice or that it sounded great, which is awesome. I love doing voiceovers and podcasts and using my voice. But what was happening is that I was putting pressure on myself to make sure my voice always sounded like that, so that people would keep thinking, yeah, she's got a good voice. And that maybe a relaxed, normal talking voice wouldn't be as good or wouldn't be liked as much or perceived as expert. Ironically, the more I tried to be authentic, though, the more I was managing my authenticity instead of actually experiencing it. Talking to Janine really cracked something open. She has this presence, as I've mentioned, I know a number of times now. She's grounded, warm, slightly cheeky, totally comfortable in her own skin. Actually, a lot of the qualities that I would like to describe myself as. And being in a conversation with her felt like sitting with someone I've known for years. I actually had moments in the chat and after where I had to remind myself, Jules, you only just met this woman today. And I realized afterwards that it wasn't just her personality. It was like her permission, her comfort gave me comfort, and her humanity made space for mine. Her ease just made it easy for me to feel relaxed and be myself. And that got me wondering, where else in my life am I still holding a little tension, trying to get it right? Because if it was in here, in the podcast that I do every other day, and I hadn't realized it. Well, actually, I shouldn't say I hadn't realized it. I think on some level, I kind of knew that it wasn't quite 100% me or something, or that it wasn't quite as authentic as I would have liked, but I just hadn't really quite put my finger on it. And then the podcast is actually the first place I noticed it. And then once I saw it, I was like, ooh, that's got to be in other places as well. Like in conversations, in decisions, in moments where I hesitate before I say what I truly mean. And in the way sometimes I edit myself to fit into the room instead of allowing the room to meet me. And look, I don't see this as a problem. I see it as a great, amazing awareness, because now, instead of striving to be perfect, I'm practicing releasing what's not me. So I'm practicing softening here instead of tightening, and then taking a breath and breathing instead of bracing, and letting myself sound human instead of perfect. And interestingly, as I'm still teaching a little bit, I had parent-teacher interviews the other day, and I did them with a girl I share the teaching load with. And every parent that came in, I was totally at ease with, conversed with them like they were my besties. And then when they left, hopefully, I think they were feeling at ease as well and lighter, exactly as I did after speaking with Janine. And it was funny because Steph, the lady I teach with, commented on how great she thought my communication was with parents. And I could feel it. I really could. That I was completely at ease and myself there and with the parents. But I hadn't actually put two and two together until after speaking with Janine and then doing this reflection. I'm not sure if I'm the only one this is happening to. I'm sure I'm not. I mean, not that many people are doing podcasts, so unlikely you may have noticed it in that space. But maybe in situations or with, certain people where you want to sound a certain way or be perceived in a certain light. Anyway, this has given me conviction to show up as me more often, all the time if possible, regardless if the situation and the people don't like me. Well, then I can't change that. I am who I am. I'll still aim to choose kindness. I'm not using this as a guise to say what I think unfiltered and be hurtful or unkind, but maybe possibly a little less polish. I've still saved the polish for when I'm doing my voiceovers, but hopefully more color and more connection. I just know how those parents, I could see the ease come over them and how the same ease came with me, with Janine. Like, it's like, okay, this is where you meet. This is a place where that authenticity allows everyone to just drop. So, and hopefully those of you who are listening to me will also feel it. And thank you for being here with me now, I must say. So in a practical sense, what this is going to look like for me is that every time I sit down behind this mic, I'll adopt some of Emma Murray's advice and breathe deeply and then drop that tiny bit of tension. Maybe I might need to put a sticky note on my screen with a reminder to be me or whatever it may be. And when I'm in those situations, and a few come to mind now where I know I'm a little more guarded, again, I'm going to really try hard to breathe mindfully and maybe release the expectation to be impressive or funny and be real instead. And I think that is what authenticity actually is. Not performing who you are, but allowing who you are to be. So that's my reflection for today. And hopefully it's landed for you and maybe makes you question that, are you showing up authentically everywhere? Because I know just this revelation was so enlightening for me. Thanks for sharing the space with me, and thank you as always for listening. Don't forget to hit subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast. And until next time.